Yes, good morning. Well, as you see, yesterday we did sail on Lake Galilee, an amazing experience. Anyway, we're off today to the north of Galilee. First of all, our tour group is going to go to Mt Arbel, which is a sort of mountaintop which has got a cliff, and a tragedy occurred in the days when the Romans soldiers fought with the Jewish people, and 5,000 Jewish soldiers chose to commit suicide rather than be captured and enslaved by the Romans. We are going from there to Tel Dan is a northern tribe of Israel, and that's where Jeroboam set up his place of worship with the golden calves. We'll see some of that apparently. Then we go on to Caesarea Philippi, which is where right to the north of Israel, and about 4 days journey by foot, so I'm told. And that's where we will see the place where Jesus said to Peter, "Who do you say that I am?" And Peter replied, "You are the Christ, the Messiah." And so we'll go to that place. And lastly, we're going up to Golan Heights, which was formerly Syria controlled from 1967 through to the next war in 73. No, sorry, from 1948 started the state until 67. And in 67, that's when the Israeli army won that back for Israel. And we'll be able to oversee the Syria, where tragedies occurring in that country, that civil war. But so those are where we're going today, and then we'll return back to the hotel here. So we're in for a full day. Again, a beautiful day. Look out again on Lake Galilee and the city of Tiberias.
There, a bit further from where the buses are. There was a village there. They found the synagogue of that village, but we know that the people from there were probably killed when the Romans conquered the land in 67 BC. And when we traveled down on the road the other day, I told you that on that cliff, on the face of this cliff, a lot of them tried to find shelter, but the Romans repelled with cages that they put some soldiers in the cages, and then with long spears with a hook at the end, they kind of hook the people out from the caves and make them fall down. And you can see that it's quite a long fall. A lot of families choose to commit suicide, but not to fall into the hands of the Romans. Many times Jews prefer to die as free people, but not to submit under others. There are some people that are thinking maybe when the Bible talk about that Jesus went to a high mountain by himself to pray, can be that he climbed up to here. If you ask me, that's for myself, it makes very much sense, because just look around you. What can be better than that to spend time with the Lord? Just by yourself, not with 2 other buses. So it can be that this is one of the places that Jesus found quite a little bit of peace and quiet, because it will be hard for the people to come up to here. And it can be that also that it was another mountain, but this is a very good spot. What we can see from here, we can see the city of Migdal, the modern town of Migdal down here with the red roofs. But if you look down to the coast, that's where the ancient Migdal used to be, or Magdala. Then if we go along the coast, you see the deck over there where the boats start to, there's one boat over there now. That's where we were yesterday. And that's where the kibbutz, Gennesaret, and that's also where the ancient boat is. You remember yesterday we saw the ancient boat? Okay. Then you see that there is a straight line, the road, and a lot of fields. And this area, Josephus said that this is one of it's like a heaven, because you can grow almost everything over here. And it's true. The farmers here can grow almost everything, and it's a very, very fertile area.
Jesus talks in the Sermon on the Mount about how God clothes the lilies of the valleys. Well, this isn't lilies. They're rather beautiful spherical seed heads on these thistles in this wild field on Mt Arbel. Very beautiful.
are using the dining room. All members of the kibbutz have to, even today, have to work a certain amount of hours in different places. For example, where we had the St. Peter's Fish in Gef Kibbutz, they had a lot of volunteers serving us. I saw the girls are not even speaking Hebrew, but members of the kibbutz had to work in the dining room. Others they have a hotel. You have to work in the hotel. Or in agriculture, on the dairy farm, whenever you do a certain amount of hours a week, or everything is equal, and then everybody is receiving the same salary. If you're working in a hotel, like let's say the folks from the kibbutz for cleaning, and the director will get the same points on their credit card or something like that.
The siren we hear is Holocaust Remembrance Day in Israel. It's to remember the 6 million Jews who died in the gas chambers and so on in Germany during the Second World War. All Israel stops on this day when around the nation the sirens go. This is a country that has seen much loss of life in many wars. We could not have a shot of our Sar L2 bus, great bus, very modern, very comfortable. And it's got the door in the middle, making it very convenient as well as the usual one by the drive. Of course, it's a left-hand drive bus. We're looking at the springs in northern Israel at Dan, and they flow all year round out of the base of Mt Arbel. And of course, this provides water for the people of Israel. Lovely and cool here. A group is underneath the tree here where the temple that King Jeroboam built after the kingdom was divided between Judah and northern part was Israel. And that stainless steel frame indicates a large altar. Those bits on the corner are called horns, symbolizing strength. And those beautifully crafted blocks are from 3,000 years ago, but around about 1,000 years later, that's 2,000 years ago, there were also other rooms, buildings constructed of stone, not quite as elaborate or as good, more basic, but nevertheless it was used for probably for temple worship. Let's just swing around and see in this approximate square on this raised bit of land. We now come around to the foot and then Mount Hermon itself, which is around about 2,700 meters high. That compares with the height of Mount Taranaki, so it gives you an idea. It's a pretty high mountain. Part of it which is in Israel, part of it which is in Syria. We'll move on now to see more sites.
The reason why Yeshua is coming all the way up to here, there is a speculation that Mount Hermon, that is up over here, is the Mount of Transfiguration. Okay? And we know that on the Mount of Transfiguration is where Jesus changed his appearance, and the disciples that were there, John, Jacob, or James, and Peter, and they were there and they were quite, and then Peter said, oh, it's good that we're here, we will build for you, for the three of you, tabernacle. So it can be that it happened over here. There is more history that attached to Mount Hermon, and so probably there was a reason why he brought them all the way up to here to ask them these crucial questions before they start the journey to go up to Jerusalem.
We're now looking at Caesarea Philippi, about an hour and a quarter drive from Galilee, but at 4 days walking for Jesus and his disciples. Yeah, yeah. We're going up there, I think, yeah. You used to see over there the ancient places there. It was a place of spiritual darkness and worship of Pan, the mythological Greek god. Jesus came here to bring light to where there was darkness. And of course this is where Peter confessed that Jesus was the Christ, the Messiah. That's in Caesarea Philippi, northern part of Israel. I'm looking upon at Caesarea Philippi, where there's a huge temple here. It's in the worship of Pan, this half god, half goat creature. And the people who worshipped this god had no concept of the living God that we Christians have. And there was some quite nice marble work, and we see on the sides of the cliffs there's some further areas sculpted into the stone. And over in the board there is a concept of what it was like. And here Jesus came in order to, in a sense, bring some light into darkness. Only shortly before he was to return to Galilee and then down to Jerusalem to face crucifixion for the people of the whole world, including these people living in darkness. So there's not much to see Christian-wise, but in terms of what happened here, Jesus was believed upon first to be the Messiah by Peter. We can say praise God for that. Jesus came to be the light of the world. Even in the midst of the remains of Pan and every other kind of false religion, Jesus is the light of the world. On top of Mt Hermon, and as we can see, it's a defensive Israeli position there with shallow trenches, concrete lined trenches, gun posts and the like. And in 1973 it was a vicious war where 900 tanks crossed over the existing border from in the distance, with only about 100 Israeli tanks to face them. It was a very intense war and quite a bit of loss of life, and Israel narrowly won the war against a far superior force. Since then there is no border, but there is a UN place we can see in the distance there, with UN troops keeping the border, which is approximately in a line we can see there. And in the distance is Syria, where the tragic civil war is in progress right as we speak, and with 1 million refugees in Lebanon and goodness knows how many, 250,000 people killed. A terrible, senseless war. In the foreground is Israeli land, but beyond that lake is Syriac country.